What's up guys, Josh from Xtreme Truck and Auto. Today we're going to be installing a set of the Amp Research power boards on this Toyota Tundra. This is a little bit more of a complicated install. There is wiring that you have to hook into. I believe on this Tundra is up near the BCM, but their instructions are really good and I'm going to walk you guys through how to do all this. First step that you're going to do, and we've already done here, is you are going to install the motor onto the bracket. I tend to wait until the end, but since I have Mark helping me out due to me breaking myself, they went ahead and installed the motor onto the bracket. So you're gonna take the factory bolts out, which are a 12 millimeter, and then they send these handy dandy new ones that you're gonna drive in, and those will be a 13 millimeter. Bracket will mount right where those bolts are, and it's just 2 bolts that hold these on. Once you get that done, we're gonna move on to how the board mounts. So our next step is to mount the board to our brackets over there. So what you will notice is in the board, there's these, I guess, nut plates that the bolts screw into. You'll have to slide those into position, and then the bolt itself is an Allen. It's a 3/16, so you guys will need that as well. We'll go ahead and get these mounted up on here. We got our board all mounted, but one thing you do want to keep in mind is where this board is lined up on the truck. So what I like to do is come back here towards the end and then make sure it is lined up with the edge of that cab corner right there. That way when you go up front, up here, it tucks nicely with that little bend in the door right here. So our next step in the venture of installing these power boards is going to be mounting the brain and running all the wiring. So the first thing we're going to do is, we know our brain is going to go somewhere around the ABS module or the master cylinder. You can always mount it sideways there, up front on the lines here, or anywhere back in here. You just want to make sure this is mounted solid. And then what we're going to do is we're going to run the harness behind the vacuum booster and then zip tie it to the brake lines, fuel lines, whatever lines those are, running across the other side. And that will allow the wire to be mounted securely and keep it up out of any sort of hot areas. And then on this driver's side, or sorry, passenger side, what I like to do is that little bracket right there is I'll run the wiring through that and then down under the vehicle. Now, since one thing I did forget to mention when I was telling you guys about the wiring is, since your brain is going on the driver's side, the shorter side, so the side that comes up to the wiring first, is going to be your driver's side, because obviously you don't need as much to run down to the motor and then back to the rear light. So the longer one, as you can see that we're doing here, gonna go up behind the vacuum booster, and then we're gonna run it along these lines and down through that little bracket right there. We decided that this was gonna be a good area to mount our brain, so we're gonna mount it right up here, probably right in between the master cylinder and this set of brake lines right there. Then we got our wiring run all the way across, like I said. Gotta watch out for the step stool. And it comes all the way across down. And then what I like to do in the wheel well is follow this factory wiring harness. Now I'm gonna leave the wiring here because we have wiring to do inside the cab. Like I had mentioned, these are a hard wire, not their easy plug and play. Toyotas don't come with the plug and play for whatever reason. So if you own a Toyota, you're gonna be hard wiring these boards in. But the next step we're gonna do is we're gonna take off these panels in here. Keep in mind that on this side kick panel, there is a little nut right there. You can undo them by hand and then just push them back on. Pull the floor mat, pull this up, and then under the carpet, about dead center, there's some foam in here, so be careful not to break that. Under that foam is a body plug, and that's what we're gonna run the wiring through. So now that we got the panels removed all up in here, the wiring we're going for is up in this area. One thing we do need to do is pull this up, and then right under this area, kind of following this harness, is going to be that body plug. It's going to be, you can barely see it if I get you guys in there. I don't know if I can get you a good view of it. It's right where that wiring goes. So you'll just pull that up, put a little slit in it, run your wiring through it, and run your wires up to this area here. Same thing on the driver's side. When you do the driver's side, you got to come way up to this panel. So you want to make sure you got plenty of slack in the wires you're running into the cab. Essentially the same place, about there on the floor, under the carpet, under the styrofoam. So what they send to make your life a little bit easier when it comes to wiring is this little connector here. One side is red, the other side is gray. I'm gonna take this apart real quick and show you. The gray side is the side that actually slips around the wire, and then you have a sharp little, I don't know if I can get it to focus, but a sharp point that basically allows you to, there, you can kind of see it there. Allows you to tap into the wire easier than either splicing it or using some of the other connectors. These work really, really well. And then you just strip a little bit of the end, and you'll feed it into the other end. Both of them, or at least the other end, has this hole. And then what you do is you tighten the wire down onto it, and that little strip bit gets smashed in there, and that allows you to tap for your door signal. Since this is a 2021, on the 2018 and newer vehicles, we're looking for this white plug down here on the side. This is going to be your driver's side front trigger, and it's going to be this little blue wire about halfway down the plug on the left side. So it's the lowest set of plugs. There's a black, a blue, and a white. You're looking for the white plug, blue wire, left side, halfway down. And then our other wire for the rear is going to be back up. You're going to pull this panel away, and then back up in here is your BCM, and you're going to tap it's going to be either a pink wire with a red stripe or a red wire, and it's going to be the top plug, pin number 2 on the BCM. Once when we get it all wired up and the wires are where they're supposed to be, I will get you guys a good shot in there so you can see exactly what we're hooked up to. So up in here on the driver's side, one of the wires you're going to tap into is this red wire coming off the middle section of this top left plug. So BCM top left, and then your middle row of wires, it's a small red wire in that section. It's the first one you come up to. That's the one you tap into. It's illustrated in their instructions as well. They point out the pin that you need to connect to. And then down here on this plug is going to be the blue wire left side on the white plug, very bottom set of plugs, kind of like a blue or a blue gray. That one right there, that's what you'll tap into. For the passenger side, what we're looking for here is this white plug on the group of 3, and then you're gonna hit this tan wire that's in this wiring harness. It's like the 3rd wire down on the left side of the white plug. And then the other one you're looking for is this green one on the bottom right. Those are going to be your 2 door signals for this passenger side. Got our passenger side all wired in under the rug. We're going to obviously tuck all the wire like that. But over here on this white plug, you're looking for the tan wire and that green wire. We've got them tapped in, as you can see. They're a little bit easier to see on this side as opposed to the driver's side. So now we're gonna throw, before we throw all these panels and stuff on, we're gonna make sure the boards go up and down, and then we're gonna get into wiring the lights. So when it comes to the wiring, we checked and we made sure they were all good. So as you'll see, closes, opens, closes, opens. Both sides are working fine. So now we're going to button up the wiring inside, and then we're going to install the 2 lights. One will go about there, the other one will go somewhere in that area. Amp Research does give you measurements to put those lights on, but once when we get the lights on and the wiring all secured, we'll bring you underneath the vehicle, show you exactly where we put them, and show you the final install and get this video wrapped up. So as you can see, we got our wiring harness run all the way along the frame and then up here to the light. Both lights are wired in. Last thing we need to do is throw the motor cover on. That's easy enough. I don't need to show you guys how to do it. It's those black things right there. And then the final step is just making sure everything works on this side. We got lights. They close. They open, and if you guys ever need to have this board open while the door is closed, you can shut the door and put your weight on it because it looks for the resistance, and then it will stay in the down position. That's it when it comes to installing these things. Like I said, there's a little more to it, but when it comes down to the whole install, it's really not that bad and something you guys could do yourself. That's it when it comes to the install of these amp research boards on this 2021 Tundra. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel to keep up with the new videos that we're releasing. And like always, thanks for watching.